I hope you don't mind, but I'd like to relax my female voice because I'm going to something wonderful tonight. I'm all dressed up, and usually, this being Saturday, I dress up anyway, but I I'm going to a temple holiday. It's a Jewish holiday called Purim, and it's kind of like a Halloween. Um, I I can sense the masculinity in my voice, but later on in this video, I want to talk about that, precisely that. I've got a few topics I want to talk about. So I'm preserving my voice. Um, so Purim. So what's Purim? It's kind of like a Halloween uh, in the Jewish calendar. It's based on the book of Esther, and I in the you can read the book for yourself. Um, it's a biblical story, uh, and what's this holiday about? It's about hiding. It's about um, it's about going in disguise to protect yourself. I hope I'm getting that right. It's definitely about hiding and costumes and masquerades, and it's very fun. I've also read it likened to Mardi Gras. All right, so you can look that up. So I was kind of feeling down yesterday. Just something from my past that had every once in a while it comes up, and I feel kind of sad. So somebody who's curious about Judaism, who's been going to temple, um, he's Christian, um, and he has, I don't know exactly where he stands right now. I'm not even sure if he knows where he stands right now, but he asked me, he texted me and he asked, "Are you going to temple for the Purim?" And I thought, well, I'm feeling kind of down. I don't have a really good reason for not going, and I don't usually see him, so I didn't want to turn him down, and I thought it would be good for me to go to get my spirits up. So, I thought, I'm getting dressed like this anyway because I've got an excellent topic for you um, in this video, and it would be kind of silly to get dressed up and then to get de-dressed and then go to temple, because um, I don't want to come across in the congregation as somebody who is trans, even though I support those who do believe, how should I put this? I support, I support I don't want to say support the trans movement. Um, I believe individually people have um, their own journeys to go through. So, but I didn't want to, I'm a trans ally, um, but I didn't want to have people believe that I really identify as a woman. So, however, tonight is different. So I think I look really good. I did an extra. This, by the way, I've had this wig, but I haven't worn it recently. Okay, so let me go on to the main topic. All right. So, oh, Barbie. I saw Barbie. There's a friend of mine who is not trans, simply interested. He's a lot older than I am. And let me talk first about the topics I want to in this video. I want to talk about Barbie. I want to talk about not wanting my Samantha persona as I develop her to be a caricature, because there's been a lot in the trans community too, a lot of talk about excuse me, a talk about masquerading as a woman, like kind of like woman face. So that's another topic. And the main topic I want to talk about is voice, developing my voice, because as you can tell, my voice needs work, I think. Um, and of course, I'm playing it on the mild because I want to preserve it for tonight. Okay, so um, all right. So the one thing I don't want to do um, in developing my Samantha persona um, is develop her as a caricature. Um, I want her to, first of all, I named this character persona, Samantha, based on Samantha Stephens from Bewitched. And she's very smart. It's a sitcom from the 1960s, very popular. Um, I want, I, she's very smart. She has good respect for others, good sense of her own self-esteem, in character, and supernatural. Of course, I like that. And she wears fabulous clothing. So I thought that would be a good um, person to name my own character out of. What I don't want to do is become a caricature. Now that's a caricature of a woman, going by stereotypes. I won't mention anybody's name in particular, but um, there are people who um, are masquerading as women, who declare themselves trans or whatever, and they they have this skewed view of women, and that's something I don't want to do. I don't want to be superficial about it. Um, I think the ultimate respect I can give to womanhood, is how carefully, notice how carefully I have tried to go for accuracy. I got my eyebrows done, um, and I'm improving my eyeshadow. I have false lashes. I'm getting dolled up, of course, for tonight, and my earrings and so forth. Um, I'm also wearing pantyhose. Um, 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 but anyway, no. Um, I, it's been made it difficult trying to learn how to speak in a woman's voice, in a feminine voice, because I've seen some YouTube viewers, some YouTube content creators um, give lessons on it, and some of them are very fetishized. Some of them, there's this concept called e-girl, where they go on like Omega, and they dress up, they doll up, and the shtick is that they try to see if people can notice whether they're men or women, and then surprise them by speaking in a man's voice after a while. That's fun, but it only lasts for so long, and there's somebody in particular who has become like a figurehead, um, and hasn't really done anything very much to come across as a genuine woman. So I don't, first of all, I call myself a female impersonator, not a cross-dresser, because, the act of putting on women's clothing, of course, is cross-dressing by its very nature. But I don't call myself a woman. Um, I don't call myself trans. I call myself a female impersonator because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to impersonate a genuine woman, and that's all I expect to be able to do. Um, so I hope speaking out like this, being a voice for common sense, what I call common sense, hopefully will spread, and that we will have some in the community, the larger community, we'll have some sense. Boy, I'm sounding like a man already. I'll get it to that next topic about how to feminize my voice and techniques I developed. All right, let me lower my voice down to being man. All right, so I wanted to make that clear, and I respect women, and I'm trying to do this. It's a challenge to be able to see how closely I can look and act, and by doing so, how whether I can be able to learn more about. I can't learn exactly what it's like to be a woman, but I can have fun with the challenge and learning how to put on makeup, for example. That was probably one of the first things I learned, and all the ins and outs that men don't typically learn, like perfume, and not only that, but I was hoping that in taking this hobby up, that if I could blend pretty well, I could experience the way men react to women. If I do it really well, if I could blend in really well. Okay, so, all right, past that, I want to talk about the different voice techniques. Now, there are a lot of different, well, evidently not as many as I hope or wish, but there are some techniques, there's some videos I've seen online on how to feminize one's voice. And of course, drink enough water. That's good in general. One of the things that I'm working on is thinning my waistline so that just for good health in general. Plus, it would help me pass towards passing. And I don't think I drink enough water. It makes sense. That's alongside not straining my voice during practice. Another benefit, of course, I mentioned before, is perhaps being able to develop a singing voice. So drink plenty of water. Don't strain your vocal cords, obviously. And I want to mention that somebody mentioned, and it does make sense, that women's throats are narrower. And as a man, when I'm trying, there goes the as a man, what I'm trying to do with this larger, the more voluminous throat is to tighten tighten the muscles and shrink down the throat so that this makes sense. If you have a volume of something, a volume of air, and you vibrate a sound, you create a sound. As it goes through, if it's a wide thing, it would sound deeper. However, if it's narrow and you try and put the sound through, it'll sound higher pitch. So that's really basically what men who try to affect a woman's voice are trying to do. And it's not that difficult. Actually, from what I understand, if you're genetically born with a narrower throat, as women are, on average, whatever, it's more difficult. It would be more difficult to affect a deeper sound out of that tighter, narrower space. I'll just use the word space. So I feel lucky that were I a female trying to affect a male voice, it would be a lot more difficult. Okay, so there are several different techniques I've seen online. I even have something by Andrea James. Now she is one of many who provide services. Of course, cost service. They cost something. But she's a voice coach, specifically for feminine voice training. I've even bought her package and seen it. Good. Okay. I've even seen her voice. Yes, I've even. Sorry about that. It froze for a moment. I've even seen her package. Sounded weird. Okay, I won't go there. Now I also have a something a thing here called Eva on my phone, and let me see. Voice tools. Oh no, that's not that. It's here. And you can pick in voice tools pitch tracker, and I can press start. Ha ha. See there, the green indicates that as you're speaking, it's registering in the what's considered the feminine hertz range, which would be about 220. And notice when I started, the pitch was higher than normal. So typically it's not that hard for me to go into a higher pitch by accident. So that gets into several aspects of feminine voice. There's pitch. 2, there's inflection. 3, there's pitch, resonance, and other aspects too. But those are the 3 primary ones. Now, pitch for me is relatively easy. You have to get into speaking in a 220 hertz range. However, there's also resonance. Now, a lot of content creators who who give tutorials on YouTube on how to feminize one's voice talk about raising the larynx, and they mention certain tricks that they use. It also helps the larynx, also known as the Adam's apple. It also helps because if you're raising the larynx or the Adam's apple, then it also helps with passing because you wouldn't have this bulge. Depends on how big a bulge you've been born with, but I'm hoping I don't have that much of a bulge. But anyway, if you raise the larynx, it will, by tightening your throat in a certain way, you will raise the pitch. And the trick is to get the resonance, get the voice that you're producing at that high pitch to resonate a certain other part of your head. Now, one person said he uses a Mickey Mouse voice, like that. Now, I'm looking at my notes here. Now, he also suggests if you can't do a Mickey Mouse, you can do an owl. I guess that kind of sound. And then you turn that into kind of like that. Now, Andrea James, for example, has a different technique. I'm trying to remember what she recommends. She has something where she talks about a nasal sound. Well, it's I suppose the technique is trying to get you to make a vibrating sound in your throat, or a nasal throat thing. I don't know if that's quite accurate. That's one way of doing it. See, that's the confusing thing about all this. Um, there's no straightforward way that's consistent amongst these different content creators. Um, and there's the third aspect, which is inflection. Now, uh, I was listening, I may have mentioned this before, but I was watching somebody, I'm trying to remember his name, Zachary Michael, and he comments on somebody else. I won't get into that, but he just speaks with, he's gay. Um, and I was watching, and he doesn't, it's not exaggerated. Like, he just speaks naturally. It's his natural voice. So I've noticed that that's probably similar to women in certain respects. And then there's a fourth aspect that I personally have noticed in women, the way women speak. This approaches that, but it's sort of a whole separate topic. I wondered if, rather than copying a girly voice, which doesn't sound, as I said before, I respect women enough. I don't want to turn Samantha into like a caricature. I want to come across as an adult woman speaking normally, and also speaking normally for my geographic region, because there are certain accents that come in, and you have to take those into account. For example, if I were living in Texas, I'd want to speak in a normal Texas accent that a woman would have. Um, and so I thought, and it wouldn't be distracting if I were copying, for example, how Zachary Michael speaks naturally. Um, I wouldn't be distracted because I'm a man. Usually I'd be practicing in my male mode, natural male mode, and it wouldn't be distracting watching somebody dressed up trying to sound like a woman. It wouldn't be distracting like that. It would just, I would be seeing a man speaking in an effeminate voice. And so I should try that more. I think that's a good technique. Okay, now the last thing I've noticed I want to talk about is something more so that I've picked up, that women tend to, first of all, speak a little bit slower. They're very precise, and I don't want to say precise. They enunciate things for the most part, enunciate things clearly. And I've noticed certain I'll call phonemes, are pronounced in a unique way. Like, for example, as a man, I say food, but I've noticed women tend to say food or menu. There's something about the ooh sound, maybe an up, down, up, something like that. Women tend to be more melodic in how they speak, and there's like an upturn usually when a woman speaks at the end of a phrase, the end of the last word, or sort of even the last word and the last part of the phrase turns upward. It's that sound, it's that way of expressing that sounds like they're asking a question. Did you notice the way I did that, asking a question on going up? And so there's that. And I've noticed sometimes when they're thinking, when they say I or we, they will hold on that word for a little while as they're preparing. I'm wondering if maybe it's in order to get their breath prepared, or whatever. I've been wondering, this is a good time to mention this, I've been wondering how women control their breath because of that tightened vocal structure. Um, is there like a female breath control that are just natural? They don't think about it, but as a man, if you're trying to mimic it, you have to breathe with that kind of breath control. And also, when I started off, I caught on to early on when I was trying to mimic that questioning, that kind, what sounds like you're asking a question at the end of the sentence by going upward. Um, I think, I don't know if it's true, but I think that maybe I was doing it a little too much and sounding like I'm unsure of what I'm saying sometimes at the ends of sentences, and uh, um, I think that it's all right. Perhaps I was doing that too often. Me being self conscious about it. Maybe it was okay. I mean, maybe it was normal. Maybe I was doing a good job. Okay, so I've talked about the oo and the s. The s is a lot clearer, these phonemes. The food, I'm wondering why that's the case. Um, and the nasal a sound, man, dance. As a man, I would say dance, but I've noticed women more likely will say dance or man, and it's probably not something as simple as man. It's if you listen carefully. That's something I like to do. Watch on a graph or something. Um, Watch the pitch. What is it? Is it just sweeping upward? Is there a dance? Is there a dance in the pitch? Dance. There's something more nasal about it. Humanity. Um, and also, I've noticed that women tend to break words up into syllables. They're more prone to break up longer words into syllables when they speak. And of course, a number of um, people giving tutorials on how to speak in a feminine voice who give tutorials on YouTube say you need to widen your mouth and enunciate better rather than speaking like you're mumbling, or have more apt have something in your mouth when you're speaking. They tend to speak uh, widely and enunciate more clearly. Um, so I think that's about it. Let me check. Oh, by the way, I did notice I did like Barbie, and I was thinking about. Um, I watched. First of all, let me close off this video by saying I watched it with a friend. He was curious. He had heard about the Barbie movie being more substantive, more substantial, and having a deeper message than you would normally give credit to a Barbie movie. And I had heard the same thing, and of course I hadn't seen it before, and I watched Transformers movies, and I'm aware of G.I. Joe. I've seen the cartoon a few times. So naturally, just in general, I was curious what they would do with Barbie. Hey, it's glitz and glamour at the very least. So I watched it, and with the background training in a theory of storytelling that ties into the way the mind works, called dramatica. And as I was watching it, I think I picked up that there are two different story forms that were merged together. I'd like to study that more. I'd also, because this channel is about not just this, but my creative writing, my creative learning. Oh, by the way, in case you hadn't known, I'm working on my memoir. I'm working on a newer draft of my memoir. An earlier version of my memoir is up on Amazon. It's very cheap because I'm not satisfied with it. I want to develop it further. So I met with a former colleague of mine, a work colleague, and she reminded me of this author that I contacted before, about a year or something prior that. I met with her and just for a visit, and I no longer work there, so I was coming back for a visit, and around lunch, and she mentioned this friend of hers, probably because I mentioned working on my memoir, and she mentioned this friend of hers who has written several books and is knowledgeable in various things. He's written nonfiction books about various topics. It sounds like fun. I guess he just learns a lot by just writing a book about it. And he's into primarily like image. He's an image consultant. He runs a company. It's image consulting. And so relatively recently, I met with her again, and she reminded me of this friend she knows. And so I contacted the friend. He recommended getting this book. Now this is I believe it's the fourth edition. He said that the first edition is preferred over the later editions. So I've been reading this, and I compiled a good title. He wanted me to come up with a good title. What's been holding me off is that my memoir, I have different topics in my life. It's called the title of the memoir has been called Seeking Sunshine. However, there's the cross-dressing, what I'm doing here, that I didn't feel really fit in with the rest of it. So I decided finally to break that off and do something separate. I don't know if it would have enough material to fill a whole book. So I don't know what form that would take, but I think it was throwing me off. So taking that out enabled me to reformat the rest of it, the chapters, because you have to make a list in the proposal, a list of the chapters in your book. And so that enabled me to put those chapters into more of a chronological order. So this cross-dressing thing wouldn't be like thrown in there and throw the rest of it off. So that's what I've done. And so I came up with some good titles, and I wondered about dressing up when I'm doing maybe a book tour or something for the cross-dressing book or magazine, whatever. Hopefully it'd be a book, short form book or something. But I thought maybe I'd have fun dressing up when I'm doing book promotions for that. So that's all I really have to say. I'm certainly going to have fun. Woo! I'm certainly going to have fun, and I'm going to practice my voice. I'm not going to be speaking like this, hopefully. And a little bit. Here, I learned. I went to a beauty department store. I went to Ulta, and there's somebody in there who's really good with makeup. And I looked, and that was the same day where I got my eyebrows done. And I asked specifically about my mouth in particular, what kind of contouring would be good. And she said, leave the bottom and the top center part in terms of eyeliner undone. Like go for the contouring the sides and leave, can't remember whether the word was blank or something, but just don't do the center. Do the sides more, and do the bottom lip more than the top. So that's what I've done. I know I have another shade that I usually use, violet. I lost my violet temporarily, lost my violet lip liner, so that's why I don't have that in there. I used another color lip liner, but I think it looks good. It matches the rest of my outfit. And so that's all I have, and I'll talk. Oh, and I added this. Looks nice. It's more decorative, and I see sort of myself as like a princess, looking sort of like a princess, which would match the Queen Esther story in the Purim thing that I'm going to tonight. So it kind of matches. Hey, I like dressing up. So I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.